Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every life when the ordinary fades and the extraordinary begins. A time when the calendar does not just turn another page, it opens a chapter. June 20, 2025 is not just a date. It is not merely another sunrise. It is a divine appointment, a moment marked in the heavens for the chosen ones, those who have been called, purified, and prepared to walk into destiny with boldness. You were not born to blend in. You were not created to be lost in the crowd. You were set apart, handpicked by the Almighty, destined to break cycles, shift atmospheres, and bring light to places that have long been forgotten. But here is the truth. Destiny is not automatic. Favor is not free. The crown is not given to the one who desires it most, but to the one who is most prepared to carry its weight. June 20 is not about being seen, it is about being ready. Many want the blessing, but few want the burden of preparation. Many want the reward, but hesitate in the wilderness. The path to your purpose does not begin when the door opens, it begins when you prepare before it does. What separates the called from the chosen is not God's love, it is your readiness. This season is not about waiting for miracles. It is about becoming the miracle. It is about waking up each morning with spiritual discipline, unwavering faith, and a heart that says, Lord, here I am, mold me, use me, prepare me. Every act of obedience you make now, every distraction you turn down, every temptation you overcome, every fast you commit to, every word you read, it all adds up. The heaven you're praying for is waiting for a version of you that has been refined, not relaxed. Let me say it plainly, June 20 is a spiritual threshold, a gate, a divine checkpoint. It is the kind of day that separates those who are curious from those who are committed. God is not looking for perfection, He's looking for preparation. And when He sees you take preparation seriously, He releases the power, the clarity, the connections, and the calling that have been waiting for the right time. So I urge you, this is your moment. This is your wake-up call. Prepare like your future depends on it, because it does. Prepare as if heaven has chosen you to carry something that others could not, because it has. The time for passivity is over. The time for confusion is over. The time for delay is over. You are the chosen one, and it's time to prepare for June 20, 2025. The chosen one must live differently. You are not called to echo the chaos of the world, you are called to rise above it. And to do that, you must learn the sacred art of silence. In a world that constantly bombards your senses with noise, distractions, opinions, notifications, and fear, your greatest weapon in this season is not a louder voice, it is a quieter spirit. Noise is the enemy of clarity, and clarity is the birthplace of divine direction. God is not shouting over the world's distractions, He is speaking in the stillness. Just like He did with Elijah, not in the wind, not in the fire, not in the earthquake, but in the still, small voice. That voice has not gone silent. It's just that most people have become too busy, too anxious, too distracted to hear it. If you are truly chosen, you must take responsibility for what you allow into your mind, heart, and spirit. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every voice deserves your ears. Not every conflict deserves your energy. In this hour of preparation, you must learn to tune out the world so you can tune into heaven. Every minute you spend consumed by the noise is a minute stolen from your purpose. The enemy doesn't have to destroy you with a weapon. He only needs to distract you with noise. Because a distracted warrior is just as ineffective as a defeated one. And if the enemy can keep your mind scattered, he'll keep your destiny delayed. This is the time to shut the door. Shut the door on endless scrolling. Shut the door on negative conversations. Shut the door on pointless arguments. Shut the door on anxiety, inducing news cycles. Shut the door on the lies that tell you you're not enough. Shut the door and go into the secret place. That secret place, the quiet place, is where the voice of God becomes undeniable. It's where revelation is birthed, where strength is renewed, where fear is broken, and where identity is restored. But that space must be protected. You can't live in the storm and hear the whisper. You can't entertain chaos and expect clarity. It's time to break your addiction to noise. It's time to value stillness the way others value movement. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not run, not speak, not strive, but be still and know that He is God. In stillness, strategies are revealed. In silence, solutions are given. In solitude, strength is renewed. Look at the life of Jesus, the ultimate chosen one. He often withdrew from the crowds, not because he was avoiding people, but because he was protecting his purpose. He knew that public power came from private prayer, and before he performed miracles, before he made decisions, he always sought silence with the Father. That was his source. That is your source too. Your assignment on June 20, 2025 cannot be fulfilled with a distracted heart. You need to be in tune with the divine signal. That signal is not coming through entertainment. It's not coming through debate. It's not coming through gossip or fear. It is coming through the Spirit, and to hear the Spirit, you must separate yourself from the static. Ask yourself today, what noises are stealing your attention? What voices are drowning out God's direction? What distractions have disguised themselves as normal life? You must identify them and remove them. Start your mornings in silence. Before you check your phone, check your soul. Before you consume content, consume the Word. Before you listen to others, listen to the Spirit. Give God the first voice you hear each day. Give Him the space to lead before the world gets a chance to confuse. This isn't about being anti-technology or cutting off people. This is about being radically intentional with your mind and spirit. This is about creating a sanctuary in your day, a place where heaven's frequency becomes louder than culture's. This is about recognizing that silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of focus. When you silence the noise, what remains is truth, and truth is what sets the chosen one free, the truth about who you are. The truth about what God has said, the truth about where you're going, the truth about how to prepare. But as long as the noise continues, the truth remains buried. You don't need another opinion, you need revelation. You don't need more applause, you need alignment. You don't need to be louder, you need to listen better, because the strategy you've been praying for is waiting for a quiet moment. The breakthrough you're seeking is hiding in the silence. The courage you need is found in the stillness. This is not a small step, it is a prophetic act. Every time you choose silence over noise, you are saying to God, I trust your voice above all. You are aligning yourself with heaven's frequency. You are making room for miracles. You are preparing your heart for the instructions that will unlock the next dimension of your purpose. This is how the chosen one must live, aware, focused, and aligned. You cannot afford to lose another week, another day, another hour to the noise. Time is short. Purpose is urgent, and June 20, 2025 is approaching like a divine train. You must be on board, ready, alert, and equipped. So in this season, make silence your discipline, make listening your weapon, make stillness your strategy, and above all, protect your focus like it's your most precious treasure, because it is. The noise may be loud, but the voice of God is louder for those who are willing to listen. Before elevation comes purification. Before the release comes the refining. You are not just waiting on God. God is waiting on you to be ready. Power is never handed to the unprepared. Destiny is never entrusted to the undisciplined. The greater the calling, the deeper the cleansing required. You are not being delayed, you are being developed. You see, a chosen one cannot carry divine power with a polluted heart. The oil flows only on clean vessels. The fire of purpose cannot rest on a life compromised by impurity. God is holy, and what he deposits must dwell in a holy place. That's why this season of preparation is not just about building, it's about burning. Burning away the unnecessary, burning away the hidden sins, burning away the pride, the fear, the bitterness, and the unforgiveness, because what cannot be burned off will break you later. The wilderness is not punishment, it is purification. Before Moses could deliver Israel, he had to be emptied in the desert. Before David could rule, he had to be refined in obscurity. Before Esther could stand before the king, she had to go through a process of cleansing. And before Jesus launched into his ministry, he fasted 40 days and was tested in the wilderness. Every person called by God must walk through the fire not to destroy them, but to define them. You are not in the fire because you are forgotten. You are in the fire because you are chosen. This is the moment to let God go deep. Let him touch the areas you've been hiding. Let him confront the compromise you've been tolerating. The lies you've believed, the wounds you've buried, the habits you've excused, all of it must be laid on the altar. God cannot bless who you pretend to be. He is preparing the real you, the version that is unshakable, the version that will not fall when the pressure comes, the version that can handle the weight of the next level. Purification is not about perfection, it's about permission. It gives God permission to flow through you freely. Every time you say no to the flesh, you say yes to the Spirit. Every time you surrender pride, God increases grace. Every time you break a toxic cycle, heaven releases a new level of clarity and power. And make no mistake, this is personal. God is not just preparing you to speak. He's preparing you to carry something sacred. That means character must come before charisma, humility before honor, brokenness before boldness. Because if the inner fire is not refined, the external fire will burn you instead of build you. Do not be afraid of the refining. It is a gift. It is the proof that God loves you too much to leave you in pieces. The fire you feel right now is not to consume you, it is to consume what cannot go with you. Some of your current discomfort is not the enemy attacking, it's heaven detoxing. It's the Spirit of God confronting every area of your life that would compromise the blessing he is about to release. You cannot carry this fire with a divided heart, so let the fire do its work. Let it burn off the need for validation. Let it burn off comparison. Let it burn off shame. Let it burn off doubt. Let it burn off every false identity you've picked up from pain, from people, or from your past. The deeper the purification, the greater the authority, because what God is about to entrust to you cannot be built on ego or insecurity. He is building something eternal in you, and eternity requires integrity. This is not a season of surface-level change. This is a season of deep transformation. You must allow God to rearrange your motives, purify your intentions, and restore your identity not based on applause, but based on obedience. Do not despise the discomfort. Welcome it. Ask God to search you. Invite the fire of conviction. Let the tears fall. Let the Spirit break you, because brokenness is not your enemy. It is the door to power. The vessel must be crushed before it can carry oil. The seed must die before it can bring forth life, and your spirit must be purified before it can carry glory. The greater your future, the hotter the fire. So don't run from the refining, embrace it. Fast when no one is watching, repent in secret. Lay it all on the altar, cancel the compromise, cut the ties with what no longer aligns with your assignment. If it's not feeding your spirit, it's draining your destiny. You don't need more strength, you need less weight. The weight of guilt, the weight of distractions, the weight of dead relationships, the weight of secret sin, it's all slowing you down. And God is calling you to lay it down, because what's coming on June 20, 2025 demands a clear, clean, consecrated vessel. Holiness is not outdated, it's essential. You are not being refined because you failed. You are being refined because you've been found. God has seen something in you that others missed, and now He's shaping it, sanctifying it, and preparing it for the spotlight of purpose. This process is not about punishment, it's about promotion. The fire is your friend. It's burning off what was never meant to define you. And when the refining is complete, you won't just be stronger, you'll be sanctified, solidified, and spiritually unshakable. Let the fire fall, let the refining continue, because the chosen one doesn't run from the fire, the chosen one rises from it. The future does not belong to the lazy, it belongs to the disciplined. The chosen one cannot operate on feelings, they must be governed by principle, routine, and unwavering self-control. If you're going to walk in your divine assignment, you must build walls of discipline that guard your energy, your mind, your time, and your spirit. The wall is not for isolation, it is for protection. Discipline is not punishment, it is preservation. It keeps you aligned with heaven's rhythm when the world tries to pull you in every direction. The difference between those who dream and those who dominate is not talent, it's consistency. The average person is led by emotion, but the chosen one must be led by vision, schedule, strategy, and sacrifice. Your destiny demands a structure. It cannot be built on moments of hype. It must be sustained by habits of excellence. You cannot keep living randomly and expect results that require intentionality. The wall must be built every day, brick by brick, thought by thought, decision by decision, morning by morning, and what you do in private builds the wall that guards your calling in public. Because power without discipline becomes chaos. Gifting without discipline becomes pride. Anointing without discipline leads to burnout. Discipline starts with your mind. You must stop entertaining thoughts that drain your focus. You cannot allow your mind to wander into anxiety, comparison, or complacency. Every thought must be brought into obedience. If a thought doesn't align with your assignment, it doesn't belong in your head. You must become ruthless about your mental environment. Your mind is the battleground. Win it every morning and you'll win the day. Then comes your time. Time is the most sacred currency you have, and the undisciplined waste it. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can distract you with things that seem urgent but are not essential. Meetings, scrolling, procrastination, unnecessary conversations, all of it chips away at your wall. If you are serious about June 20, 2025, then you must be militant about your schedule. Every minute you invest in growth is a minute that builds your future. Wake up early, guard your mornings, make your prayer life non-negotiable. Feed your spirit before you feed your phone. Stop saying yes to everything. Start saying yes only to what aligns with your divine calling. Discipline also governs your body. The physical vessel matters. You cannot run a spiritual marathon with a worn-down temple, sleep with purpose, eat for energy, not escape, move daily because movement produces momentum. If you want to go further, you must feel stronger. There's a connection between your physical discipline and your spiritual authority, and then there's your speech. What you speak creates atmosphere. The chosen one doesn't waste words. Speak life, not laziness. Declare discipline. Guard your mouth from negativity, gossip, or complaining. Every word you speak is either laying bricks on your wall or leaving it exposed to attack. You must also master emotional discipline. You are not your feelings, you are not your impulses, you are spirit-led, not emotionally driven. There will be days you don't feel like praying, do it anyway. Days you don't feel motivated, show up anyway. Days you want to quit, keep moving anyway. Obedience in the absence of emotion is what separates warriors from wanderers. Discipline is not about how you feel, it's about what you decide. And once you decide, you show up. No excuses, no shortcuts, no detours. You show up for God. You show up for your calling. You show up for your future. There's a reason why soldiers train even when there is no war. There's a reason why athletes practice even when there is no crowd. Because greatness is built in the shadows, not the spotlight. And if you want to carry the weight of the next level, you must prepare in silence with consistent, focused, private obedience. You are being trained for something massive, and the weight of it would crush the undisciplined. This is why you cannot afford to let comfort become your God. You cannot give your body and mind whatever they crave and expect to carry a holy fire. You must become addicted to growth, addicted to structure, addicted to the process, because only those who endure the process will inherit the promise. Every act of discipline is an act of spiritual warfare. You are saying, I will not bow to my past. I will not submit to my weakness. I will not entertain delay. You are saying, I'm building something that cannot be broken by mood swings, distractions, or fatigue. Discipline builds momentum, and momentum builds miracles. You don't need more inspiration, you need more instruction. Your future doesn't require another emotional high, it requires habits that hold even when motivation disappears. So build a schedule that supports your vision. Create rituals that feed your mission. Let your calendar reflect your calling. The chosen one doesn't just hope, they plan, they prepare. They show up when others sleep. They grind when others scroll. They pray when others panic. The wall you build now will protect your destiny later. Because make no mistake, storms will come. Distractions will multiply. The enemy will try to catch you off guard. But if your wall is strong, you will not be shaken. You will not be derailed. You will not be delayed. Discipline gives you a foundation that stands when everything else shakes. There will be moments when discipline feels boring, when the routine feels repetitive, but those are the exact moments where champions are forged. When others slack off, you stay locked in. When others fall back, you press forward, because your goal is not comfort, it is calling. Discipline is also what sets you apart spiritually. A consecrated person is not just anointed, they are disciplined. They guard their gates, they measure their output, they steward their energy, and they remain faithful even when no one sees them, because God does his greatest work in hidden places. Nehemiah rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem by staying focused. He didn't come down from the wall to entertain distractions. He said, I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. That must be your cry in this season. I will not come down. I will not be pulled into foolishness. I will not be derailed by emotion. I will not abandon discipline. The work you're doing in private will shock those who once overlooked you. The daily grind, the prayer when no one is watching, the fast when no one applauds, the study when no one understands, the boundaries you set, the discipline you hold. That's where your future is being written, not in public applause, but in private obedience. So build the wall, strengthen it daily. Let discipline become your defense system. Because when the day of testing comes, and it won't be your passion that keeps you standing. It will be your discipline. Faith is not proven in the easy steps. It is proven in the steps that don't make sense, in the decisions that go against logic, in the risks that defy comfort, in the obedience that demands everything. If you are going to walk as the chosen one, you must be willing to follow God even when the map is missing. The details are silent, and the way forward is hidden in mystery. Obedience is not about understanding, it's about trust. God doesn't always explain, he often just says, go. He doesn't always confirm before commanding. He doesn't reveal the full picture, only enough to take the next step. And that's where faith is forged, not when you have the answers, but when you move anyway. Noah built an ark without a drop of rain. Abraham left his homeland without a destination. Joshua marched around walls instead of breaking them down. Peter stepped out of the boat in the middle of a storm. And Jesus, he obeyed all the way to the cross, even when it meant pain, rejection, and death. Why? Because obedience opens doors that understanding cannot. There are some miracles that only move when you do. There are some breakthroughs that only come when you walk through the fog with boldness. Heaven doesn't respond to hesitation, it responds to radical obedience. This is not the season to play it safe. It is the season to step where God says step, even if it looks crazy to everyone else. Bold obedience separates those who are used by God from those who are merely inspired by Him. Obedience makes you dangerous to darkness. It puts you in alignment with the wind of the Spirit, and once your aligned doors open, favor follows and mountains move. But bold obedience will cost you. It will cost you popularity. It will cost you predictability. It will cost you approval from people who only understand what's comfortable. You will have to leave the familiar. You will have to say no to logic. You will have to release your grip on what makes sense and trust the one who sees what you cannot. Because make no mistake, obedience will always be tested. You will be asked to give when you feel empty, to speak when you feel unworthy, to go when it's inconvenient, to forgive when it still hurts, to stand when everything around you is falling. This is where the real warriors rise, not in the hype, but in the obedience. God does not anoint the arrogant, He anoints the obedient. You don't need to feel qualified. You just need to say yes. You don't have to have all the answers. Just say yes. You don't need confirmation from people. Just say yes. That yes is the key to unlock supernatural doors. That yes is what separates history makers from excuse makers. That yes shifts atmospheres. Some of the greatest moves of God begin with a whisper, obey me. Obedience must become your default, not when it's easy, not when it makes sense, not when others agree, but every time, because delayed obedience is still disobedience, partial obedience is still disobedience. God is looking for chosen ones who will obey quickly, fully, and fearlessly. There will be times when obedience feels like a free fall. You'll have no plan B, no backup, no applause, just a word from God and the silence of surrender. But that's when heaven begins to move. That's when miracles start to stir. God backs bold moves, and bold moves begin with bold obedience. Don't wait for every detail to line up. Step. Don't wait for others to validate you. Step. Don't wait for certainty. Step. Because the next level of your destiny is on the other side of one bold act of obedience. One conversation, one shift, one prayer, one yes to the uncomfortable. God doesn't need you to be perfect. He needs you to be obedient, because obedience is louder than talent, louder than titles, louder than talk. Many people talk big, but few obey big. And the chosen one doesn't just believe big, they obey bigger. Bold obedience also means obeying when it costs your reputation. It means being misunderstood, mocked, and misjudged. It means standing alone, but you weren't called to fit in, you were called to follow. Your obedience might make you look foolish today, but it will make you unstoppable tomorrow. Think about it. Joseph obeyed God's voice and endured prison before reaching the palace. Ruth obeyed and followed Naomi, not knowing her obedience would place her in the lineage of the Messiah. Mary obeyed God's call to carry Jesus, even though it risked everything. Obedience always looks small at the beginning, but it always shakes eternity. Bold obedience requires you to tune out the noise. You must stop asking for permission from people who don't carry your vision. You must stop looking for external confirmation for internal instructions. When God speaks, you move, period. You may not see the full staircase, but your job is to take the next step. Do it afraid, do it alone, do it broke, do it unsure. Just don't do it later, because every time you hesitate, something holy is delayed. Obedience is urgent. It does not wait until the weather is clear. It builds the boat before the storm. It gathers the oil before the famine. It prepares the altar before the fire falls. The anointing you carry is activated by obedience. Your obedience is a seed, and every seed carries a harvest. When you obey, God sends the rain. When you obey, heaven backs you. When you obey, hell gets nervous. That's why the enemy wants to paralyze you with doubt. Because he knows if you ever move in full obedience, there's nothing he can stop. So take the risk, make the move, speak the word, release the fear, trust the voice, walk on water, climb the mountain. Tear down the idol, cross the line, leave the comfort, cancel the compromise, say yes, and keep walking. You are not called to be normal. You are called to be obedient, and obedience is the highest form of worship. It says, God, I trust you more than my understanding. It says, I will walk even when it looks like nothing is happening. It says, I will keep moving because I know heaven moves with me. The chosen one doesn't live by feelings. They live by the voice of God, and when he speaks they obey. No delay, no excuses, no compromise, just radical, bold, heaven-shaking obedience. There is a difference between movement and momentum. Many are busy, but few are building. Many are moving, but they're not moving with vision. The chosen one must not only hear the voice of God, they must move when he says move, not when it's convenient, not when it's popular, not when others agree. But when heaven gives the command, they act. Vision without execution is delusion. Plans without movement are nothing but dreams. If you are going to walk in the fullness of your divine assignment, you must become a person of immediate, intentional, and fearless execution. God does not bless passivity. He blesses obedience that moves with urgency. When God gives you a vision, it is your responsibility to protect it, nurture it, and act on it. Heaven won't build the ark for you, but it will send the rain. The walls won't fall until you march. The sea won't split until you stretch out your staff. The miracle won't manifest until you move. This is a season of execution. No more delays. No more overthinking. No more waiting for the perfect time. The perfect time is now. What you put off because of fear, God called you to complete in faith. And every day you wait is a day you delay your destiny. There is an urgency in the spirit, a divine countdown. Heaven is calling, move now, build now, speak now, start now, sow now, shift now. Because the window will not remain open forever. Favor is time, sensitive, opportunity is perishable. What you don't act on now may never return. Vision is not just about seeing the future. It's about being willing to step into it when everything in the present tells you to sit still. Vision means you obey what God said even when your circumstances disagree. It means you prioritize purpose over comfort, clarity over confusion, and destiny over delay. The enemy of execution is hesitation. Hesitation is the graveyard of divine assignments. It is where great callings go to die. And many chosen ones have lost momentum, not because God didn't speak, but because they didn't move. They hesitated. They waited for approval. They asked for another sign. But bold vision requires bold action. You don't need more confirmation. You need more courage. Move when God says move, even if the ground hasn't shifted yet, even if the resources haven't shown up, even if the doors still look closed. Because when you move in faith, heaven meets you on the path. The provision is waiting on the other side of your obedience. The clarity is waiting in the middle of your motion. You can't wait for everything to make sense before you act. Vision isn't about safety, it's about strategy from heaven. It's about following divine orders when human logic breaks down. You may not see how it will work, but your job is not to figure it all out. Your job is to move when the cloud moves. When the pillar of fire shifts, you shift. This is not the time to play small. The dream God gave you was never meant to fit into human boxes. The vision wasn't given to make you comfortable, it was given to make you dangerous to darkness. But it cannot manifest unless you execute. The world doesn't change through inspiration alone. It changes through those who are disciplined enough to build. You must become a builder, not just a dreamer, not just a thinker, not just a talker. A builder, one who rises early, prays hard, moves fast, and finishes strong. Vision means you act before the crowd shows up. You build before anyone claps. You prepare before you see results. It means you obey God's pace, not people's opinions. Execution doesn't require popularity. It requires discipline. It requires urgency. It requires fire. Execution will require you to move without applause. It will demand lonely seasons. It will ask you to walk away from distractions, comforts, and casual friendships. Because execution requires focus, and not everyone can walk with you where you're going. Not everyone is assigned to your vision. You must protect it, feed it, guard it, and execute it even if you walk alone. When God told Joshua to cross the Jordan, he didn't give him guarantees. He gave him instructions. He didn't explain how the waters would part. He just said, "Tell the priests to step in." That's what vision looks like, a step of faith when everything screams, "Stay still." But as soon as their feet touched the water, it moved. The miracle is motion activated. God doesn't waste instructions. If he gave you a vision, he's already prepared the resources. He's already touched the right people. He's already set the alignment in motion, but he's waiting for your execution. He's waiting to see if you'll move when it still looks barren, if you'll sow when the ground looks dry, if you'll preach when there's no crowd. Faith without works is dead. Vision without execution is empty. The chosen one must become militant about movement, relentless in pursuit, focused in action. You must be like Nehemiah, building the wall with one hand and defending the vision with the other. You must move even while under attack. Execute even when misunderstood. Push forward even when tired. The pace of your execution determines the pace of your elevation. And you can't afford to wait until the situation looks perfect. God will sometimes tell you to strike while the enemy is still watching, to move forward while fear still lingers, to step out while critics still mock, because your obedience becomes a signal to heaven, "I'm ready." Every divine opportunity carries an expiration date. What you don't move on today, someone else might be raised up to do tomorrow. And while God's purposes will always prevail, your part in them is not guaranteed. You must seize the moment, execute the assignment. Move with urgency. Don't just talk about it, do it. Don't just plan it, execute it. Don't just dream it, manifest it. God is not looking for perfection. He is looking for action, for warriors who hear and obey, for vessels who see and step, for sons and daughters who move with vision, speed, and fire, for those who rise early and build even when the blueprint is only half visible. This is your moment. The time is short. The mission is serious. The vision is holy. So move now. Execute without excuse. Step without delay. Trust without understanding. Build without fear. Because when God says move, it's not a suggestion. It's a summons to destiny.